Magnus Carlsen, the reigning world chess champion, made a spectacular entrance when he came 2 minutes 30 late for a game that was scheduled to last only 3 minutes and had a lot riding on it. Hold on to your seats. Magnus Carlsen, the reigning world blitz chess champion and the player who is almost universally acknowledged to be the best player in the history of the game, arrived late for his 3-minute game versus GM Vladislav Kovalev during the World Blitz Chess Championship. Carlsen rushed onto the playing area with only 30 seconds remaining on his timer, and he immediately began the French defense by moving his pawn to the position e6. In his response, Kovalev moved his pawn to d4 with the intention of gaining control of the central squares. Carlsen responded by moving his pawn to position d5, which opened up the game. While Carlsen pushed his dark squared bishop out to d6, Kovalev advanced his knight to the f3 square. With the move, Kovalev took his time and gradually advanced his pawn to position c4, which put pressure on the central squares. Carlsen made the most of the situation by advancing his knight to square f6 while protecting his pawn on square d5. The attack on the d5 square was resumed after Kovalev made his knight to the d3 square. Carlsen demonstrated his experience by swiftly escorting his king to the safety of the castle. Kovalev may have been showing sportsmanship and fairness towards Carlsen by allowing his clock to run down rather than stopping it. Kovalev was unable to castle because Carlsen had his rook stationed on e8, which prevented him from doing so. In an attempt to stop the check, Kovalev used his light squared bishop, but the bishop ended up getting pinned. Carlsen played with complete self-assurance as he moved his second knight to d7, while simultaneously organising his pieces. After that, Kovalev was able to return to his castle and ensure the safety of his king. After a few more moves, Carlsen captured on square d5 with his knight, which kicked off an exciting new phase of the game. Carlsen's knight was assaulted by Kovalev's bishop, which was light squared and headed towards the f3 square. Carlsen ensured his defense of the square by transferring his pawn to position c6. Both players decided to bring their queens to the back file in the hopes of making a deal. However, because Carlsen is so strong in the endgame, he is the clear favourite in situations like this one. After Kovalev's capture on d5 and Carlsen's subsequent recapture with a piece, time began to run out for Carlsen. In an effort to make the game more manageable, Kovalev decided to trade the queen. Carlsen, on the other hand, had a shock in store for his opponent. He advanced the kingside pawn that was adjacent to his king, so assaulting the white knight and exposing a threat against the white e1 rook. Carlsen cheerfully agreed to trade the rooks, which resulted in Kovalev being checked. Carlsen placed his rook to an a4 in preparation for an attack. Despite the fact that both players had a limited amount of time in response, Kovalev moved his bishop to position c3 on the board. Carlsen kept up his assault by transferring his light squared bishop to position f5, which once again forced the knight to withdraw from the board. The tide began to turn in Carlsen's favour as the game progressed. Kovalev made an effort to stay up until there were barely 4 seconds remaining, but he fell farther and further behind. Carlsen manipulated a series of exchanges to improve his position and gain an advantage over his opponent. Both players attempted to position their kings closer to the centre of the board. Carlsen used his bishop on square b5 to check Kovalev's advance, while Kovalev used his king to attack Carlsen's rook on square a2, which caused it to retreat. Carlsen ultimately prevailed by capturing pieces and keeping the pressure on Kovalev's position throughout the game. Despite Kovalev's best efforts to claw back some ground, Carlsen was able to capitalise on his advantage and gain additional material. After a couple more moves, both players shook hands and then Kovalev retired, giving Carlsen the win. Magnus Carlsen did not let the fact that he arrived late or the limited amount of time prevent him from demonstrating his talent and strategic prowess. He outplayed his opponent and secured the win with accurate plays and strategic maneuvers, which reaffirmed his reputation as the world champion of blitz chess. That's all for today. We'll be right back. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys in the next one.